to Through the Bible. Today, let us listen to the story of the Israelites led by Joshua, their new leader after Moses. The Spies and Rahab. Joshua chapters 1 and 2. You will remember how Moses, the great leader of the Israelites in the wilderness, was not allowed to enter the promised land. From the peak called Pisgah of Mount Nebo, he was allowed to look across the river Jordan and see the land spread out westward, but then he died. That left the Israelites without a leader, but in Moses' place, God appointed Joshua, the son of Nun. You can imagine how nervous Joshua was, leading his people into a land strange to them and against fierce enemies. But Joshua trusted God, and God had a special message of encouragement for him. Lead this whole nation across the river Jordan into the land which I shall give to them, just as I promised Moses. As I guided and strengthened him, so I shall be with you. I will not fail you, nor forsake you. Do not be afraid. Then Joshua told the people to prepare themselves for the crossing of the Jordan and the entry into the land which the Lord had given to be theirs. He reminded the Reubenites and the Gadites and the half tribe of Manasseh of their promise to help in subduing the land of Canaan before they went back to their own lands east of the river. As loyal Israelites, they promised to keep their word and obey all his commands. In fact, they even said that anyone who refused to carry out his duty would be put to death. The Israelites must have felt a little afraid of the river crossing. The river was running high at that time of the year, and they had no boats. And then, not far away, at the foot of the nearby mountain range, stood the city of Jericho, a stronghold of the Canaanites. Those people would certainly not want these strangers, the Israelites, to come flooding into the country in which they lived. Before they crossed the river, Joshua sent out 2 men to go into Jericho and spy out the land. These 2 spies crossed the river and slipped into the city. In the evening, they found a room in the house of a woman called Rahab, whose house was built right on the wall of the city. But the next day, some of the people of the city went to the king and told him that there were strangers in the city and that they were staying in Rahab's house. The king sent to Rahab and demanded that she should hand over the men, but she had hidden them under stalks of flax which were drying on the roof of her house. Then she told the king's men that the 2 spies had left the house and gone toward the Jordan River. And so they went away to search for the spies. When all was safe, Rahab went to the 2 Israelites. She told them that the people of Jericho knew of God's wonderful works for the Israelites and of his promises to them about the land of Canaan. Then she asked them to promise that when the Israelites took Jericho, they would spare her life. They promised to see to her safety as long as she did not give them away. When it was dark, Rahab led the 2 spies down on a rope out of the window of her house and down the city wall. Before they left, they told her that when the Israelite army came up to take the city, she should hang a scarlet cord from the window from which she had let them down. Any member of her house who went into the streets then would run the risk of being killed, but all who stayed in the house would be safe. So the 2 men hid in the hills till it was safe for them to cross the river Jordan. When they brought their report, the Israelites were much encouraged because now they knew that the Canaanites were afraid of them and God had given them the whole of that land. Now Joshua was ready to move into the promised land. But how were so many people all going to be able to cross the river Jordan, which was in flood? Let us wait for our next story. Meanwhile, open your Bibles and read from the book of Joshua, chapters 1 and 2.